Hi guys. I've been thinking a lot recently about awareness and raising your consciousness and that kind of thing. And I'm starting to realise that awareness might be the word that ties together all of the things that I'm interested in, all of the things that I want to help people with. Because I've felt up until now that my interests and passions and what I'm trying to do has maybe been a bit scattered. And I started trying to draw that together with the concept of heart story. That your heart story is something that includes spirituality, but it also is just your entire life. Your heart story is your experience of life. It's the story that is unfolding in your unconscious. But it's a bit of a convoluted concept, and as much as I like it as a name, I really love it as a name, it really resonates for me. I've been having kind of difficulty in expressing clearly and concisely to people what I really mean by heart story. I haven't had anyone tell me that they're confused by it yet, but I feel that there has been something missing in what I'm trying to get across, if you know what I mean. I felt like I could convey it better. And once I started thinking about awareness, I started to realise that maybe is where the crux of it is. And it's not really something I realised that was important to me until I started to develop my meditation practice a bit more a couple of weeks, it must be a couple of months ago now. I've talked about meditation, my relationship with meditation, in a couple of videos, particularly in my last video about daily practice, which I will link below. So I've already said that meditation is something that has been in my life on and off for a really long time. I mean, probably for over 10 years. But it kind of came into my life in a major way a year and a half ago, I think, and then it's only been in the last couple of weeks or months that I feel like I've finally gotten to grips with what I'm actually trying to achieve with meditation, because I feel like I did it before because it was something that I had been told was good. People in the spiritual community say it's good for enhancing your focus and stuff like that, enhancing your ability to get into a ritual mindset, into a ritual state of mind. And then we also get told by psychologists and people like that and doctors, in fact, medical doctors, that meditation is just good for us in general. It makes us happier, it makes us more relaxed, it makes us less prone to disease and that kind of thing. So there's no denying that meditation is a good idea. I think everyone will pretty much agree. Okay, maybe not everyone, but most people will agree at this point that having a meditation practice is a good idea. And I think you can reap benefits from it without necessarily having a really firm idea on why or how it's working for you, and without being really strict about your practice and how you do it, and whether your eyes are open or closed, or whether you're sitting in lotus or not, or you know what I mean. I think just sitting quietly and relaxing and attempting to let go of your mental chatter every day is going to be a good thing no matter what. And probably if you're coming from a place where you've never done anything like that before, where you're really unable to sit in your own company for any length of time or to completely relax, then any form of meditation at all, no matter how rudimentary or how short, is going to benefit you. But I suppose since I started trying to delve into it more and try to really figure out what I was kind of trying to get from a meditation and what it was supposed to feel like at the end, I feel like I've sort of gone down a whole new rabbit hole. And I haven't exactly done that much academic reading or proper reading, apart from just floating around cyberspace about the subject. But I have found myself coming across more and more blogs and forums and YouTube videos and stuff like that. Oh, it's really warm. I do have sun cream on, but I hope it's strong enough. And kind of getting an idea of what kind of philosophies there are out there about meditation and about why we're trying to do meditation. I'm basically gradually getting to grips with Buddhist philosophies and stuff like that, and yeah, what the idea behind it really is, apart from just making yourself feel better, obviously, is the ultimate aim. But yeah, I'm gradually building up a philosophy as to what that process should look like, because it's all very well to say meditate and you will feel better, but I want to know what happens in between in order to improve that process, and in order to just make the whole thing more meaningful to me, I suppose. So awareness. When I started my meditation practice, I was reading that book that I've mentioned several times now, and one of the primary things that stood out for me and that he repeats is that meditation is the art of being relaxed and aware. So very early on, this idea of awareness started to take hold for me, but gradually I've been watching videos on sort of Buddhist meditation, and I came across through Kellyanne actually Evan maybe, I can never remember how to pronounce that name. Maybe some people pronounce it two different ways, I don't know. Anyway, came across his YouTube channels, and I've been really enjoying them, because it's not that it's anything that's completely new to me, like the concepts. I have been familiar with these concepts for a long time, but I suppose it hadn't really started to click for me, probably because I didn't have a dedicated meditation practice. But now that I've been meditating for a while, and I'm starting to understand how it makes me feel and what I'm actually aiming for. I've also been learning more about positive psychology, and it's all starting to come together for me in this philosophy of being more in the now. And again, this is nothing new to me. This is something that I've been supposedly trying to do for quite a long time. But I think it didn't really have any sort of depth of meaning for me. I didn't really know what it meant, being in the now. I thought it meant forcing myself not to worry, or forcing myself not to think about things from the past. It didn't dawn on me that it was maybe more of a state of mind or state of being that you can't really force. I think it's something that will come about naturally as you meditate more, and as you just change your perspective on life and your priorities. Because for a very, very long time I thought that being happy was all about chasing the dream. And it's not that I don't believe that chasing your dream is important. It really, really is. Because doing something in your life that is meaningful to you, and doing something that you're passionate about, is very important to happiness. I don't think we can be happy unless we're doing work or moving towards things that are truly important to us. But for me, it was always about the chase, and it was always about very specific goals, and a very specific idea about what the future was going to look like. And I couldn't really make that distinction between, I knew that living your passion had to be important, and that living the dream, that doing what you're passionate about, not being in a job day to day that is soul sucking, that you just don't get any enjoyment, or that you don't feel is actually using your talents and abilities and moving you in a direction, or helping you contribute something to the world that is important to you. Obviously I became aware that was important to me, that I had to be doing something day to day that was meaningful, and that brought me joy. But then it seemed to me that in order to do that, you needed to have very specific goals in mind, and that everything needed to be kind of future oriented. That therefore this means that, in order to be happy, you need to be following your passion. That means that you need to be constantly striving towards something, that you need to be constantly trying to publish that book, or finish that painting, or much grander ideas, building that successful business, or becoming a successful writer. It never dawned on me that you could work towards something meaningful in life, that you could be doing meaningful work without having that sort of painful desire for a goal that is set in the future. I think goals are important. Without some form of goals, you're not going to really do anything, are you? Things won't feel meaningful enough. But I'm starting to understand that there is this balance to be struck between having goals that are meaningful for you and chasing after something and locking yourself into this pattern of constantly not being satisfied because you're chasing after this goal, reaching the goal, and not being satisfied, even though you've reached the goal. So instead, what I've been trying to ask myself is, how do I want to feel today? And what can I do today to make me feel that way? And sometimes what I want to do today isn't necessarily possible. I think to myself, what I want to do today is to help somebody through tarot and life coaching to improve their life, to improve their awareness of themselves and of their environment. Maybe that's not completely possible. Maybe I don't have any clients. Maybe I don't feel like I have enough experience to start, maybe there's nothing I can technically do today, practically do today to actually sit down and do that. But rather than kind of setting all that up into some like future thing, like, oh no, I can't do that, I need to do all these things before I can get there, and just setting up all these different goals that I have to achieve to get there. Sure, I can do that, and it's important to do that so that I can achieve that feeling later down the line. But it's becoming more important to me to just act in the moment. Take an action that maybe moves me towards that, but that isn't just focusing on a rat race or putting everything into the future and saying I can't do that right now, so I'm just going to push it off into the future and plan and plan and plan and hope that I get there. Instead, I'm saying to myself, okay, well, I don't have any clients, or I don't feel completely confident enough to do that, to do like a live life coaching session with somebody. So what do I need to do? I need to build my experience and my confidence. So I need to find somebody to do life coaching with who I trust, who trusts me, who I'm not going to maybe ask for any money for it. And that's what I've done. I'm going to be life coaching a friend of mine who is in need of life coaching. But it's allowing me to move forward with something that I want to do. Without getting kind of bogged down in feeling like, oh, I can't do that right now. I don't have the resources to do that right now, so I need to I'll be happy later when I can do that. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky balance essentially, that balance between goals and living in the now. And I think I'm definitely going to have to work more on that and get better at taking action right now rather than worrying and overanalyzing what can be done in order to be able to take action in the future. But I also think that awareness in general is a very important concept when it comes to spirituality and being happy in life in general. And it ties in greatly with Heart Story, with the concept of your heart story, because my whole point with Heart Story is that it's important for us to become aware of our heart story. It's important for us to become aware of what's going on in our psyche, of what's going on deep down in our minds, of what we're experiencing bodily, what information we're taking in unconsciously. Becoming aware of all of that is basically what Heart Story is all about for me. Because one of the major things I talk about is the fact that people don't pay any attention to the seasons, to the year as it goes by, to their surroundings, to nature. They don't pay any attention to just their bodies in general, anything from the neck down. And that in a spiritual practice as well as everything else, it's important to pay attention to these things. It's important not to just get caught up in a sort of theoretical thing that's just going on in your conscious mind, just concepts. And yeah, it's important to pay attention to your body and get a better idea of what's actually going on in the entirety of your psyche, because what's going on in your conscious mind is not necessarily everything that's happening in your psyche, because you've got all that unconscious information coming in, you've got all that material there, you've got the collective unconscious, if you believe in that, you've got all this stuff that's going on in there that you can be largely ignoring. And awareness for me is all about becoming aware of our heart story, becoming aware of our surroundings, becoming aware of our environment in general, and becoming aware of our actions and our reactions. And yeah, I don't think that we can really move towards full happiness until we achieve some level of awareness of ourselves, of our emotions, of our desires, of which desires are ones that are sort of particularly ego-driven and future-oriented, and which desires can actually be acted on right now in order to make us feel happier and in order to express ourselves. I think that's where the crux of it is. If we are fully self-aware, then we are better able to differentiate between the desires that are a pure expression of self and the desires that are maybe more based on fear, or an ego-driven desire to look successful to other people, or things like that. What you're aiming for is to be acting on desires that are driven purely by your deep self, and by something that is really purely you. So yeah, I think awareness is really important for you, whether or not you have a spiritual practice. If you don't have a spiritual practice, then being aware of your surroundings will actually help. It will actually fill the void a little bit for you, even if you're not remotely wanting to develop a spiritual practice. Being more aware of the current moment, of being more aware of your surroundings, of nature, of other people, of everything that's actually happening to you in your life, and of your deep self. It'll tie you in with everything, because I feel like that's what spirituality is really attempting to do. It's attempting to tune us in better to our relationship with the all, and tune ourselves in with our relationship to everything around us and our experience of life. It's attempting to answer questions that maybe we can't answer through pure experience. But for me, the most important aspects of spirituality are those that tie us in with our deep selves, and with our experience, and with our identity that is built up through our experiences and through our understanding of those experiences. Yeah. I'm also finding that being more aware is helping me feel more in control and more calm, because when you're acting on autopilot, it's very easy for time to sort of slip away, and you're very busy, and you're constantly getting kind of pulled and dragged from one thing to another, and one minute you're sort of working on this thing, and then the next minute you're on Facebook, and you're not aware of deciding to do those things. You're not aware of deciding to focus on all the different things that you're focusing on. At the end of the day, you can end up feeling very kind of scattered and fragmented. That's what I find anyway, that if I am on autopilot really at all during the day, I will end up feeling very weird at the end of the day, very scattered and just very busy. It feels like there's too much happening, and it feels like I don't have enough time for anything. But I think I'm finding that if I'm more aware, if I'm more in the moment, if I try to reduce the amount of time that I spend on autopilot, and if I try to become more mindful, mindfulness is really important for me this month, then I feel as if I have kind of more control and more time. I don't feel so rushed and so scattered, because everything I do, I kind of choose to do it, and I respond to how I'm feeling in the moment, rather than just pushing through discomfort or continuing with something even though it's just not really flowing. Yeah, I'm really rambling here, but I just kind of felt like turning on the camera and talking about awareness and seeing what came up for me. So yeah, I think this concept of awareness is going to be something that I'm going to be developing over time. It's going to tie in with the idea of the heart story, and probably help me come up with a clearer mission, a clearer kind of explanation for people as to what I'm all about. So yeah, I feel like I'm going through a really quite a profound transitionary, is that even a word? Oh, I don't even know what I just said. You know what I mean? Period at the moment. I think getting more into meditation, and it's kind of like the final stages in this process that I've been going through for a while, I think. But well, the final stages, who knows. But I'm feeling particularly at the moment like I'm changing a lot, or like my perspective on life is changing a lot, hopefully for the better, because I feel like although I started to follow my passion a few years ago. I started to develop a spiritual practice, and I became much happier as a result. I changed a lot as a result, and started to become a lot happier. But at some point I just felt like I was stalling, that I was happier, but there was still a lot missing. I was still failing to be as happy as I felt like I could be. And I think this combination of learning more about meditation practices, and learning more about positive psychology is really, really helping me to finally get to a point where I can be much happier, that my base level of happiness is actually going to rise a lot. I'm hoping to feel a lot less stressed and a lot less scattered, and become a lot more focused about what I want to do, because ultimately that's what I believe that awareness will help me do, and can help anyone do, is just become an awful lot more focused on what's really important, what really needs to get done, and what's going to make you feel actually satisfied. Because too often, I start up a project because I feel passionate about something about it, and then I do it, and then there's something missing, there's something not quite right, and that's usually because I haven't listened to my intuition completely. I haven't given myself the space and the time necessary to really be open and honest with myself about what it is I actually really want to do. Sometimes it'll just be the easiest option, the least scary option. It's easy to just go for that, to kind of say, okay, well, I'm interested in this, so I'll do this, and that'll fill that gap, and then it doesn't. So yeah, becoming more aware. That's what it's all about for me right now. Thanks for watching, guys. Much love.